All right, welcome to Digging in the Trenches on the FitSoft Sports Network. I'm Bobby Melendez, joined by JPF scout Justin. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good, hanging in there, trying to lick my wounds from that tough Thursday night game and move on with life here and try to continue about our business here.
That's right. And we got JP. I know he said he's trying to work on the camera. JP, you there with us, brother?
Oh, I'm ready to rock with my fellas, man. Good to talk to y'all. Finally be on here. I know I've been trying for a couple of weeks, and you guys have been running control for me, but we finally figured out it's better to do on the computer than the phone.
Cap,
so
Steve.
Thanks for having us.
Very cool, man. It's great to finally have you on. As JP brought up, we were going to have Ryan Roberts from Rise and Draft on, but something came up. That's okay. Things happen. So we're going to pivot here. That's why I'm on here now. We're going to talk some Dolphins because JP was going to interview with JP Scout. Justin was going to interview Ryan, but since this was going to pivot, and we got Sean Williams should be on soon, and we got JP in the back. Justin, man. Okay, so you've had a few days since Thursday night, 27-15 loss.
Yeah.
You're hearing the stories. And JP, I'll come. You follow up, brother, right as soon as Justin's finished with his take. How are you feeling now after we're some odd days away with the situation with Miami, with the 3-1 now, and then of course the Tua situation, brother?
I'll go start with the first one. Like McDaniel says, it was like a little 2-for-1 there. But I feel real good about it. If I would, like we talked about on the post-game show, if I would have told you at the beginning of the year we were going to come into this thing and be 3-1 after the first 4 games, I'm pretty sure any one of us would have taken that and been really ecstatic about it. I'm excited about how far we've come and what we've done to get there. I realize that we have actually burned ourselves a couple of bullets to get these 3 wins and over these last, 4 games. But I feel real good about it. I think the coaching staff is doing a great job. I think everybody's handling their business. It's business as usual. After the game, or honestly, I'm not even going to lie to you, after the Tua injury, I kind of knew we were in for a long night. I didn't think we were going to win the game. Of course, like I'm a homer kind of inside too and a gamer, and I wanted to see us win. So I kept on cheering for us like any fan would. But my thoughts, just like all the players' thoughts and everybody that was on the sideline, was with their brother. And that's where my thoughts were. And when I woke up in the morning time, I'll be honest with you, it actually hit in like it really sunk in. It sunk in really deep to me. I got very emotional. I got into a spaces. I kind of, showed my colors on my sleeve, and that's okay. I thought about players that I've seen play this game in the past that I'm a big fan of and that I love, like Junior Seau and Mike Webster, Javon Belcher, who, took his life in the Chiefs organization. That stuff kind of struck a chord with me. I've watched on TV live when Dennis Byrd suffered a spinal neck injury, and that stuff's not fun to anybody to see. So to watch these guys go down like that, it was scary for me. I mean, I got emotional a little bit. I got over it, but these are serious injuries. These are things that are not to be taken lightly. These are things that could damage them in the future. 10 years from now, 7 years from now, 20 years from now, we don't know. But it really did scare me a little bit, shook me up. But after I, gathered my senses, the reports came out that everything was going good with him. He actually put out a tweet saying, "Thank you for all the support and everything like that, and thank the fans." It made me feel a little bit better. I felt good about it after he made that statement. It's been kind of a little bit of hellish around here because that first morning for me, I was like kind of, bumming, like I don't drink, but I had a hangover and it was a football hangover. But as far as that goes, I feel good about where we're at. He's okay. We're going to move forward with it and let's go. You can go ahead.
JP, let me just introduce very quick. Sean Williams is back. Sean, how you doing, brother?
Good. Better than I thought I'd be after Thursday night.
Right.
Gotten some good news the past couple of days. I don't know if you guys are aware. News just dropped that the NFLPA has fired the independent neurologist that was involved with checking Tua on Sunday against the Bills.
That's
Breaking
big,
news
dude.
right
I'm
there,
telling
dude.
you. I told you,
I
man.
see that.
Something's coming down the
Wow.
pipeline here. I'm telling you now.
Now, my whole point with everybody was like, I couldn't find a logical way that the Dolphins were at fault because they use an independent neurologist. They use an independent doctor. I don't see Mike McDaniel as the type of guy that's going to lie and put, a player's health at jeopardy. Call me a homer, call me whatever you want, but I just didn't see that as a possibility. So to see that the neurologist from the Bills game was just fired by the NFLPA, that's definitely interesting.
That's very interesting. That's a big piece right there.
Wow.
I know. I'm shocked.
JP, you're back there, brother. The same question I gave to Justin, but your reaction to that report that the independent neurologist has been fired. JP, you there, brother?
JP.
All right, we'll wait for him. But Sean, man, so let's talk first as you bring up that report, though. Thursday night, Dolphins lose 27-15. 3-1 now. Big story, though, was the Tua injury. You've had a couple days to digest the loss and so forth. How you feel about the Dolphins' early start to the season, and of course, the Tua injury? Now that you just broke that report for us that you saw.
Yeah, look, I said before the season that I really needed the Dolphins to go 2-2 to start the 4-game stretch if they wanted a realistic shot at the playoffs. Anything less than 2-2, I didn't see a way for them to make the postseason. We started 3-1. We proved to ourselves that we can overcome adversity. In terms of the Bengals game, look, I got to be honest. There wasn't a time during that game where I felt like the Bengals were the better team on the field. To me, it was almost blatantly obvious that the Dolphins were the better team. I'm not going to sit here and say that if Tua was in there, 100% we win. Things happen, but I wasn't even impressed with Joe Burrow. Like, I don't even know how far ahead Joe Burrow is than Tua, based off the Tua we've seen so far this season. The defense continued to fight despite all it's been through the past couple of weeks. The offense was moving at will underneath Tua. Obviously, they left some points on the field, which they had an issue with in week 1. But I'm pretty optimistic moving forward. I don't think Tua is going to be out more than a few weeks. I do think the Dolphins are probably going to be overly cautious based off the optics of everything. So I could see them holding him out an extra week or so. But I think Teddy can handle the New York Jets. I made a joke the other night that I think Dolphins Twitter could suit up and beat the Jets, probably. So
yeah, we were in a spaces together, and you said that. I was like, oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, now it'll be exciting. Hopefully, we get Byron Jones back soon. I know that we saw the video from the pregame warmups on Thursday night, and Byron Jones did not look athletic. He did not look ready to go. But then again, it's warmups, and what context can we really draw from it?
Right.
So let me ask you guys this: JP, are you back yet, brother? All right.
Having some technical issues.
So my prediction is that he's probably going to be out for those 3 weeks. That's something I've heard, and I think 2 weeks, but I think Sean's right. It might be an extra week, so I'm going to put 3 weeks there. So that's Jets, Vikings, Steelers. Justin, what are you thinking, man? How long he might be out, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I think they're going to be very cautiously optimistic, and not only that, but the witch hunt is going to be out for the Dolphins. People are going to be coming for them. They got lawyers. They got people that are in the National Congress tweeting about this and trying to figure out what's going on. I honestly want to believe that it's only going to be a couple of weeks, but I think it's going to be more like a month. I'm thinking it's going to be something like that. I was kind of looking at our schedule right now, and I see there's 6 games going until the bye. If they held them out all 6 of those games, it would not surprise me, not one bit. That's just my opinion. Now, I'm hoping for a couple of weeks, of course, just like anybody, but I want the kid to be okay and fully cleared and ready to go for himself and 100%. Other than that, I don't see no problem, but we'll see what they say. That's all we all can do is wait and see what the doctors say.
JP, I think I got you back on here, man. You said you were backstage. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, man, I hear you perfectly well. Hopefully it's coming through. I know
Awesome.
There's a pretty nasty rainstorm here, but that might be dragging my Wi-Fi. But Sean coming in hot with this breaking news. And you know what?
That's good.
This should absolve the Dolphins at least of some of the responsibility.
Yeah.
And I've been saying this from day one. Listen, the Dolphins are responsible for one thing and one thing only, and that is putting Tua in the game, okay? And that was as much Tua say as anything, but this is where Mike McDaniel erred on the side of caution. I'm not going to talk Homer here, guys. I'm not going to come on here and, wave the pom-poms and put face paint on and kiss rear end where it doesn't necessitate it. We got to be out.
Right.
We're running a show. We've got to be objective. Mike McDaniel
Yes,
should
sir.
have erred on the side of caution we think of, and we don't know the full details. So I'm being a Monday morning quarterback. But Mike McDaniel, probably from what I'm looking at here, should have erred on the side of caution and said, sit this one out. We'll play it by ear. You've got 10 days off after this. Let's see how you're feeling in time for New York. That is where the mistake happened. But all this stuff and all these people online, and Sean, I know this is ticking you off as much as it is me. All these Twitter neurologists and all these Twitter doctors that that are talking about they don't know better than the University of Cincinnati, trauma center, which is one of 190 level 1 neurology centers in the United States of America. You don't get level 1 status because people come handing it out like Halloween candy or free tickets to a New York Jets game. Okay. I mean, this is something, these are some of the best in the country.
That's
and
right.
Trust me when I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, all you people that think that this hospital just let Tua walk because he said, hey, I want to go home now. And the Dolphins said, let him go. It don't work that way. This isn't a get out of school free card for your son or your daughter. Okay, there is possible humongous litigation that could be hit with this hospital if something goes wrong. Okay, if something is terribly wrong with Tua and they let him walk and something goes kaput, they are liable with a massive lawsuit. Not to mention the Miami Dolphins, who have faced a large amount of scrutiny this offseason already as it is with the Brian Flores nonsense, the tampering, etc. So believe me, you all want to point the finger at the Dolphins for what happened with this. And believe me, I'm not unwilling to point the finger myself when they do wrong. But in this circumstance, this is someone else. This is the outsiders. And believe me, you want to talk about people getting sued? I'll give you 2 examples in sports in the 1990s. Reggie Lewis was cleared by a doctor in Boston, and he wound up dying on the court at a practice of a heart attack that they should have never cleared him, okay?
I remember
Hank
that.
Gathers was a similar situation. These hospitals are going to err on the side of caution. So these Twitter neurologists and these people in the media that are faux pasing, concerned, and some aren't. I'm not going to say all of them are, but some of them are doing it for the clickbait. Some of them that were calling him a bum and a scrub and a backup quarterback, now we're taking this big concern. Please sit down. Please sit down and let the professionals do their job. And if you want to hand out criticism, hand it to Mike McDaniel for letting this man play on Thursday when he probably should have sat the sideline. That's a fair criticism. Why did the Dolphins clear him? They didn't. They had nothing more to do with it than you did, Bobby, than you did, Justin, or you did, Sean, or I did, or my son did, or anybody else did.
It's true.
As for the game itself, I'm long-winded, so I'll wrap this up. I don't mean
you're good, man.
Good,
no,
bro.
you're
good.
You're on
Keep
fire.
going.
Brother.
I love
go
it.
For it.
Yeah, keep going.
You're
cooking.
me, man. I don't know when I get rolling. I don't know when to shut up for my own good.
I love it.
The whole thing is, and this may be misinterpreted, and I hope you guys understand. You've heard me say it in spaces, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
After that injury, after that happened, the game itself really didn't matter. It really didn't matter to me. It didn't, because I saw that happen, and I thought Ryan Shazier, I thought Mike Utley, I thought, Dennis Byrd, I thought the absolute worst. And all I cared about was hearing that our quarterback was okay. All I cared about was our quarterback was going to get up and walk and live a good quality of life again. That's all I gave a crap. If Cincinnati won, whatever. If Miami won, whatever. I wasn't expecting us to go perfect this year. Would have been great, sure. But was I expecting it? No. And, they fought hard. And I know people have argued with me, win one for the Gipper, win one for the Gipper. That doesn't apply here. And I'm not making excuses. I swore up and down after the Buffalo game I wasn't going to diminish Cincinnati's win, and I wasn't going to be the contingent of Bills Mafia to blame the sun, the moon, the stars, diarrhea, a date with Fergie that went to hell. I'm not going to do that. But I am going to say this. That sucked a lot of the emotions out of the Miami Dolphins. It did. And seeing that happen in real time, that's an emotional mind bender. But again, hats off to Cincinnati. They did what they had to do to win that football game. They did. But again, that's where Mike McDaniel should have erred on the side of caution and let Teddy go out there and play this game, because I'm not saying the results would have been any different, but you know how it is.
You're saying he should have saved it from himself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to save these guys. I've been around enough athletes, and believe me, 95% of them are competitors. You're not going to sit there and ask a professional athlete with a competitive bone in his body, "Hey, Tua, do you want to play?" And that's Tua. Tua's a competitor. Right. Say what you want about him. Hey, Tua, go out there, and do you want to play, Tua? Of course the man's going to say yes. 100% he's going to say yes. Most of these professional athletes are. That's where you have to protect them from themselves and say, look, I know you want to play. I know you care about your brothers out there. I know you care about your team. And that's admirable. We love you for it. They love you for it. But you know what? We love you just as much. That's why you're sitting this one out.
I know it's Saturday, but I feel like I'm at Sunday Mass. I'm hearing a preacher talk. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, so here's my only thing, right? Like, I am still convinced that that's a possibility that he didn't have a concussion going into Thursday's game. I know what we saw. I know that the independent neurologist just got fired, but he just got fired for making mistakes. He didn't get fired for not diagnosing a concussion, anything like that. When Tua came back in that game on Sunday, he showed no signs of a concussion. That first half on Thursday, he showed no signs of a concussion. If he had a concussion, now we're accusing the Dolphins of lying about the back injury, which I don't think that's the case either. And if you go back and watch the hit, and I've really tried to do it as few times as possible, but like I still want to get a good look at things. I still want to get a good analysis of it. Like if you go back and watch that hit on Thursday, that could have broke my back. Like I couldn't believe it when I rewatched it. He got whipped suplex into the hard turf. Like it's completely possible it's an isolated incident. Like that could have paralyzed me. That could have killed me. Like that's how just the motion and how he just got whipped.
Yep.
So like I don't know that Sunday and Thursday have anything to do with each other. And I'm not saying they don't, but I just feel like it was such a bad hit on Thursday. It could be a completely isolated incident.
It's true. I think that's fair because we don't know because there's so many conflicting reports about last week, this week. Also especially not this week. We know, they said it's a concussion. Last week, people were speculating it was a concussion. Other people say they say it was the bat. So what I'm hearing with the JP brought up some players. The player died in the court. You brought up Junior Seau earlier before the show. It's a lot of scary talk, and because we talk about the human being in Tua. He's our starting quarterback, but he's also a human being.
Yep.
And I've seen a lot of, especially on the last episode we were doing Fins Talk today. People were starting to bring this up, and I didn't want to bring it up then, but I'm hearing it now from you guys, and I'm seeing the conversation. When it comes to the human aspect of it, when is enough? When would you say, "Hey, dude, you just need to take a step back"? Justin, I'm gonna start with you, brother.
Honestly, I think if it becomes a reoccurring issue to where you have more than 3 or 4 of these concussions, like especially in a season, even 2 in a season, bad, I think you're cautioning on the side of you might want to look and reevaluate your life a little bit. I think you might want to think about your family's future. You might want to think about your future. You might want to think about what's going to happen after football because there is life after football. There's more to life than just football. I know we're all diehard football fans, and you're talking to one of them right here who loves the game with all the passion in his life. If I could play it, I would, but I also know the dangers that come involved with it. You could lose your life on any given play. Every hit out there, they put a scientific test up as like the significance of a car crash. It's serious stuff that's going on out there. I love the game of football. I just think that they need to do more to protect the players. But that's what I think. I think, two concussions within a season, I think you might want to look. If you go into the next season, you have 2 more, I think it's going to be time to hang it up.
Sean, you want to respond, brother? You got thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, kind of like we were talking about, right? Like he has a new wife. He has a child on the way. That matters. I mean, we've seen big names retire early to preserve themselves, to protect their bodies. But so here's the issue. Like, I think everybody unanimously agrees that really the reason Tua took that hit was he needs to get rid of the ball, right? Like, he needs to stop playing hero ball. But and I was talking about this in Spaces yesterday. It's not easy to get a tiger to change its stripes, right? Like,
I love that analogy.
What makes him who he is? What makes him be able to rebound from an interception, to have that look on his face on the sideline when the team's in adversity, like he just can't wait to get back in? What makes him the player he is that thing. That's a personality trait. That's not a football, thing. That's not something that's easy to get out of somebody. So my concern is he's going to continue to put himself in these positions to take these awkward hits. We saw it at Alabama with the hip. We saw it, with the ribs last year. We've seen it 2 weeks in a row with these head injuries or potential back injuries, whatever. Like, the way he plays football makes it so that when he gets hit at really bad angles and takes really bad hits. I just don't know how you change that, because again, like, the way he plays football is more a product of who he is and a personality than it is of like something you can coach out of somebody overnight.
I agree with that take. It's a great take. And I love the analogy of having the Tigers change the stripes. And you're correct. It is his personality to go out there and put it all on the line and get the most out of every play. It's right. You're totally correct. I couldn't have said it better myself.
JP, man, you were just talking about protecting the player from himself, and Mike McDaniel put a little bit of blame on him for allowing him to come out on Thursday night. Just, with the same question and answer, the same question I just asked Justin and Sean, brother. What are you thinking?
Sure. Well, here's the thing. And we all know the stories of the Junior Seaus and the Dave Dewersons and the Andre Waters, the players that tragically lost their lives by their own hands due to CTE. And that's a very real thing that hits the NFL. But here's another link that we don't talk about enough, and that's ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease.
Yep.
NFL players are 4 times more likely to get ALS than anyone else. 4 times, guys.
It's huge.
I mean, and there was a study that said that from 1960 to 2019, that's just 2019. We're not talking about recent people. And if you've seen a picture of Steve Mongo McMichael, and I know Evan in the chat, he mentioned Brock Lesnar. He's a pro wrestling fan, so he'll get the link. He played for the 1985 Bears.
Yep.
It is
WCW.
the most image you will see. You see these people with ALS. It is crippling. It is. There's no cure for it. It is sickening to see. And 38 were diagnosed with ALS. 28 died during the study. It is a brutal, ruthless, crushing disease. So that's another thing you got to protect these players from. Even if they don't develop CTE, ALS is a very, very real thing that we have to protect these players from. And you can, and kudos to the NFL. I know we all come on here and bellyache. Oh, let's turn it into two-hand touch. Every time somebody gets a hard hit and they throw a flag, they're wimps, they're simps, they're babies.
Put dresses on them.
These people that never played football in their lives that don't understand that it's contact. But the bottom line is the NFL has to protect these players from these potential long-term effects, because I never want to see these players go through this again. And Tua, look, it's gutsy to see him go out there and put his heart on his sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
And any player that has that I'm trying to think of the proper term. Mick Foley called it something else, but we're a PG show. Internal fortitude. Internal fortitude. I was talking about something a little further south of the waistline, but these players that have this internal fortitude, I respect them. because some players go out there and they play their hearts out, not just, because that's how they're made of, but sometimes you have to slow them down and say, look, man, take it easy out there. Take it easy and just, think of the rest of your lives. You don't owe it to the ham and eggers in the crowd. You don't owe it to the twits on Twitter that'll sit there and criticize you no matter what, because at the end of the day, the lights in the city are going to go down. You're going to wind up being an NFL player just like everyone else, okay? You're going to be, and I hate to say this is going to sound negative, but you're going to be an afterthought that people are going to move on. Eventually, they're going to move on to someone else. The team is going to move on to someone else, and you're going to be forgotten about by a large number of the masses. You've got to think about your family. You've got to think about your children. You've got to think about yourself. You owe it to nobody but yourself to take care of yourself for the long term. And if these people, these jabrones with these Twitter handles, dingbat15733165 don't like it, then there's two things they can do, and that's zip their lips and sit in their little corner and play their Madden 2023 because that's the only level of life they've ever accomplished anything in professional athletics.
Guys, damn.
Love this guy, right?
I love it.
Love this guy.
Man.
Was it worth the wait, fellas? Was
Absolutely.
it worth the wait?
Absolutely.
Worth the wait. What
Absolutely.
the hell? Oh, goodness.
Ding, 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 ding.
See, I go on my rants. I go on my rants on Spaces because I can't do it PG like you. I start dropping F-bombs and all sorts of things.
See, I've had years of experience. Sean, you've heard my rants on Twitter. You've heard my rants on Spaces.
I have.
There's a few rated R verses I'll throw out there that, especially when people get on there and try to clap back at us. It's pretty funny, man. It's
hilarious.
Funny, but I respect all these players because, look, this is not a game for the weak at heart. This is not a game that if you've ever played at any level, it's not a game. But you're talking about the National Football League, and we've got these Al Bundys out there that played for a local high school football team, that played, backup bench warmer, that grabbed the water bottle for, the quarterback and that thought they're hardcore. Guys, I played football too for West Brundletown Tech in middle Arkansas. So I know what it's like to be a National Football League. No, you don't. You don't know what it's like to play at the highest level. You don't know what it's like to have a 6'5" linebacker at 275 pounds come barreling at you at 50 miles an hour. Sit your stupid rump down, watch your football game with your can of 25-cent Schlitz in one hand and your cheap wings that you dug out of the garbage can at Buffalo Wild Wings with the other, and let the experts do what they're doing. Sit down.
Yo, where have you been? Holy
I know.
shit. Love it.
It's
Love
awesome.
It. All right. Yo, man. Okay, so Sean, before we move on, just about the state of the Dolphins and where they stand right now as we get on the 28-minute mark, do you have any response? I saw your finger up before, brother.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was just gonna say, like, the part that really bothers me is it's the blue check marks. It's the people that should be better than who they are.
And they're not.
It's the Josina Andersons. It's the Shannon Sharps. It's look, I get it. It's a business. We're here to make money. That's what all this is about. I get it. But there comes a point, and this happens every time something major happens in the country as well. It's finger pointing. It's the blame game. Nothing really gets solved, and that's kind of my problem. That's where my anger and frustration comes from. I don't give a shit about the kid in their basement or the dude that doesn't touch grass, whatever. It's the blue check marks. And look, like,
I agree.
Brain issues, which are still in its infancy for us understanding them. Something I'm really passionate about. I'm a veteran. 30,000 veterans commit suicide a year. A lot of that's due to TBI from blasts, from things like that, from mental health. I mean, we saw Javon Belcher kill himself in front of the Chiefs GM. We've seen Everson Griffin over the past couple of years. So, like, yeah, let's care more about the actual problem and getting that fixed than we do about the next narrative, the next headline. Like, let's actually do something for once.
Damn right. I agree with
man.
you.
That, right on, brother. Good point. And JP, you had a response, brother?
Yeah, Sean, I get where you're coming from with the Josiah Andersons and with these blue check marks, these people in the media. Listen, brother, a lot of these guys and gals, They say this garbage for clout. That's all it is. These media people nowadays have no moral ethics. They have no journalistic integrity. A lot of these people say it because it gets clicks, it gets recognition, it gets their names out there. The ones that bother me are the Shannon Sharps. They're the ones that bother me because Shannon played the game.
He played the game, yeah.
That's like Josiah Anderson and, Ding Dong Magoo, who writes for the local rag, and
but I mean, even the NFL veterans are criticizing the Dolphins for letting Tua get on a plane. Like, he just left a level 1 trauma center.
Right.
If they said he could go on a plane, he could go on the plane. Like, what are we talking about? What are we doing here?
Yeah, I seen Ryan Clark was going in on that same.
Yeah,
that same
Emmanuel
thing.
Acho.
I was like, what the hell? What the hell is this about?
What are we doing now?
Clickbait. Clickbait.
Yeah, it's all clickbait, dude. That's what
I
try not to let them get to me, but I'm just
what
like,
it is
Sean,
is
they piss me off, man.
And Sean, it's like, I talked about it a little bit on Fitz Talk today, but you're bringing up a lot of great points. And the one thing I'll say is, it's their job to create headlines and to make people want to watch their stuff. Yeah. It's our job as the ones who are the viewers, the clickers, and all to ignore that because there's a lot of, if you, like I just said, like if you go to YouTube and you click on the most negative thing, you type in, Tua wets the bed, you're gonna see 100.1 thousand views. You go Tua had a baby, you're gonna see 10 views. They don't want to look at the positive; they just want the negative. And it's just what it's what if we control that narrative, and that's what they didn't even know. Like you say, you're absolutely right. Shannon Sharp or Emmanuel Acho should know better.
That's
but the
right.
fact is now they're media guys, so they know, hey, what's going to make me get more or get my money to go up is if there are more views, because then people are going to want to pay them more.
Yep. They pay me to not know better is basically, they pay me not to know better. So if they pay me to say give you the misinformation, I'm going to give it to you, and that's what they do.
So it's what's going to happen, and I get it. I know Evan, he's talking. He just had a little bit of a rant earlier, and he talked about, but it's just what it is. I mean, it's just what the media does, and whether it doesn't matter if it's political or sports or just network, local media, they all do it. They want to go to to the deeper, to the negative part of it. But let's go ahead, if you guys don't mind. Let's talk about the state of the Dolphins right now. They are 3-1. They've beaten. They've had tight contests with Buffalo. They had a tight contest with New England. They had a great comeback win against Baltimore. And now they go against the Jets next week, Vikings, Steelers. So, Sean, I'm going to start with you, Justin, and then JP, follow up, brother. Sean, what's your state on the Dolphins right now? And Teddy starting for the next 1 to 3 weeks. How are you feeling about the next 3 games?
Yeah, so when something big like this happens, it has the potential to change the energy of the team, to kind of suck the energy right out of what's going on. That's something that they need to, Mike McDaniel specifically needs to combat, because it's really easy for that to happen. They were in the midst of something special. There's a large part of me that believes that was going to continue had Tua not gotten injured on Thursday. I think we'd be talking about going into the Jets game 4-0.
Same.
So look, we're headed into the easy part of our schedule. We have the Jets, we have the Vikings at home, we have the Steelers on Sunday night, which is going to be a throwbacks game. It's the celebration of the 1972 Dolphins, and then we play a bunch of scrappy teams, but teams that if you showed up to work today, you should be able to handle. So look, am I overly concerned? No. Is Tua coming back? It looks like it, and I think that's kind of the key to everything. If Tua wasn't going to come back, I don't know that this team's motivation and energy level and all those things would have maintained. But it's hard not to feel good about it. And even there's a part of me, like, I truly believe there's something special going on with this team. Like, there's a part of me that believes like all this ends up in a trip to Arizona at the end of the season. Like it almost just feels that way. Like, you got the up, you got the down, you got the storyline, and then at the end of the day, Tua finally gets the last laugh.
Yeah,
that's what I'm riding on as a fan, and we'll see what happens. But overall, like, listen, we could still get to the West Coast road trip with 1 or 2 losses, and that's huge, right?
Hey, Sean, if you don't mind, brother, before we get over to Justin, Catfill, I've asked this before, he's asked again. If this is a spinal related injury, then what? Is that not worse than a concussion? Somebody please educate me. Anybody want to respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, so it's come out the past couple of days that he does have a concussion. That seems to be where their focus is. He's done additional testing. They haven't found anything new out. He's done MRIs. So I imagine it's not spinal. If it was, maybe at a pinched nerve. And that really more than anything is managing pain. I know it sucks. I'm sure a lot of us have had a pinched nerve. Those aren't fun, but it seems to me that there is not a spinal injury. The neck brace he was wearing Thursday night was probably out of precaution more than anything else.
Right.
Gotcha. Appreciate you, Sean. All right, Justin, what do you think about the state of the Dolphins?
To answer Cap's question,
go ahead.
To
Go
answer
ahead,
Cap's
JP.
question, like to part of that question, I know Sean answered it diligently. Is it worse? Is that not worse than a concussion? I mean, pick your poison, Cap, brother. I mean, brother, I appreciate your opinion. That's like, but pick your poison. That's like asking what's better to marry. They're not. None of them are good. You know, that they're both. You know, it's like that's like asking, would you rather have diarrhea on a road trip or rather have bad stomach cramp? None of it's good option. You know, like. You know, it's like, spinal related. That's possibly ending your career, can kind of end your career. None of it, and they could also mess with the quality of your life. So, as stated before, none of this is optimal. If it's one or the other, it's going to mess with the quality of his life either way. So, both cases, it's bad scenario either way.
Right.
I do want to say there's two things about this team that I have not seen that for the past year or so, we have led the league and then some. Like, it hasn't been close. I need to start seeing turnovers. It's pissing me off. Get the ball. You know how to do it. You've been doing it. You're the best at doing it. Go get the ball and get to the quarterback. Simple. Just go do it. Go do it.
Yeah, very frustrating.
Perfect. Justin.
You know, I liked what Sean was saying right there about how the storyline's been set up and everything can roll into us looking good going into that West Coast swing. And I love that theory because that's where I'm at with my fandom too, because I want to he who laughs last laughs best. He who laughs last best. And I want to be the one laughing last. So I want to be going to the promised land, and I want him to get us there. I feel really good about where the team sits right now currently. Like I said before, we are still playing on house money. We have the Jets, Vikings, Steelers coming up. Right now, if we were to take 2 out of those 3 games, I'm okay with that. I feel confident in Teddy can get the job done. I feel that I don't think he's going to be given this really long leash. I think the leash is going to be normal. Like, if he starts to struggle, I think they might put in Thompson just to see what the kid has. It's a possibility. But going down the stretch, I'd still like to see us keep shuffling the back end of the roster. I'd like to see us stacking depth as much as possible. I mean, we already have with Bethel, with Swain, with Flowers, and with Brandon Shell. That's another right there. I'd love to see Brandon Shell hit the field for us. It gives us more depth across the offensive line. That means Greg Little can go back to playing swing tackle again. We'll see what happens when Austin Jackson gets back. I think it looks good for us going down the stretch here. We still have a really good football team. No Dolphins fans should be hanging their head low thinking that the season's over, any bullshit like that. We have a lot of football to play left still, and everybody should be optimistic. It's on to the Jets, and let's get this thing going, you know.
Well,
like Sean was saying, too, I want to see more sacks. I want to see more pressure, and I want to see interceptions and stuff starting to happen. I totally agree with that. We need to see more of it because we're one of the best at it in the league. So we just need to go out there and put it all on the line. We don't need to be leaving points on the field no more. I just want to see us capitalize.
Go ahead,
Look,
Sean.
get this. We're going into the easier part of our schedule, right?
Yep.
The next 4 weeks for the Bills is the Ravens, at Ravens on Sunday.
Yikes.
Home against the Steelers, at Kansas City, and home at the Packers.
Oh my
home
God.
versus the Packers. That's their next 4 weeks. So no matter what happens this weekend, we are still the number 1 seed in the AFC East. Yep. We have 2 division wins. We have 3 conference wins, and only 1 loss. So, like, we're about to go play the Jets, the Vikings, the Steelers, and the Lions, that's their next 4 games. So like, I like the position we're sitting in.
Same
personally.
here. Yeah, we're still playing on that house money. I love it.
We are, and I will say this too. I know you were saying about the short leash. I think Teddy, these 10 games here, that's the 10 days. It's going to give space for the Dolphins and Mike McDaniel to adjust with Teddy as their starting quarterback. But I mean, and I hope he does well enough for us to win games that he doesn't need to be benched in favor for Skylar. I would love to see Skylar because I think Skylar has a lot of potential. I don't think I don't think he's one of those. I think he's a diamond in the rough, but I hope Teddy stays in there because that means the Dolphins are doing well. Before we wrap it up, and I want to do 2 things here before we get to the final thing, which I wanted to, because we talked about it earlier on Fit Talk today, but I want to get you, Sean, and JP's studs and duds of the past 4 games here, the first 4 games. Who are your studs for the first 4 games, and who are your duds? Players that impressed you, players that didn't impress you. But before we get into that, and that will be the wrap-up topic, Justin, why don't you tell people why people should be liking and subscribing to the channel and what you have in plan for them next week on Digging in the Trenches?
Like he was saying, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. We love having you guys over here to talk football. We were supposed to have my real good buddy Ryan Roberts on today. We're gonna reschedule him to come back on. But honestly, I'd love to roll this out for you guys right here since Bobby said so. Next week, don't forget to tune in. We're gonna have the new Hall of Fame inductee, which is being inducted into the Hall of Fame. He's on the list. Is Richmond Webb is going to be on the show. We are really excited to have Richmond on the show. I can't wait to pick his brain, talk some football, go back and talk about the Dan Marino days and also about the state of affairs on the Dolphins now, how he sees it. So we're really excited to have Richmond coming on the show next week. Don't forget to tune in and don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We like to have you guys all over here. Don't forget to follow my boy Sean. Don't forget to follow JP on Sports, and always don't forget to follow Bobby Fins Talk. He's graciously hosting this for us. This is awesome. I'm so excited. More people are coming down the woodwork than you even imagine. So stay tuned here. We're going to get this thing cranking, man.
There you go. JP, brother, we'll start with you, then Sean, and then Justin, and we'll wrap it up. JP, man, who are your studs and duds? If you have 3 for each, perfect. If you only have 1 and 2, that's okay. Who are your studs and duds to start the season so far in this 4-game stretch that we just had?
All right. Well, studs, first off, I'm going to say Greg Little. He's really stepped up to the plate and solidified himself as, I think, a regular in the starting right tackle spot in the offensive line, which was a big question mark coming into the season. He looks like the Greg Little we saw in college. Very, very potent blocker. Very, very adequate both in run protection and in pass protection. And I think that's been a key reason for why Tua has been able to stay upright, because having a, right tackle that is strong is crucial in Tua's blind side, because Tua, is a lefty,
That's fair.
I'm going to stick with the offensive line, Connor Williams. He's, making a transition to a newish position. I know people say he's played it before, but playing it in high school, playing it once in a blue moon, like a couple of snaps in college, and playing it every day in the National Football League is very tough. And his pass protection has been spotless this year. And those little problems he was having in preseason with the failed snaps have seemed to be dissipated. He's been mauling people.
He looks good.
He has been absolutely mauling out there, which is what we thought. The penalties have been cut down, which I stated from day one were not a major issue except for last year. And I don't know whether to give it to Hill or Waddle in terms of the third stud. Obviously Tua gets, honorable mention here, but I don't want to say Tua because I think other guys are going to say Tua. So I'm going to give it to Jalen, man. I'm going to give it to Waddle. He's been all over the field. He's made the tough catches. He stretched the offense out. And, I think they've blanketed Tyreek, but Jalen is just, he's been a gunner on offense, and he's really made this offense look really, really potent. Explosive at times too. Duds, man, I'm gonna say Jalen Phillips. I know he got his first sack the other day, but he's been a couple games there, and even at points in the Cincinnati one, persona non grata. And I know he got off to a slow start last year, but here's the thing that concerns me: he'll have games where he disappears, and so far he's just I'd like to see a little bit more consistency. Don't need a sack every game, but it seems like he's had trouble getting to the quarterback quite a bit, or even breaking the pocket. Second dud, I'm going to say, Edmonds has had a couple touchdowns. Edmonds had a couple of good runs, but I haven't seen it.
Right.
He dropped that catch in the end zone that would have, possibly, coulda, shoulda, would have. I get it, but he catches that touchdown pass. We're talking a different ball game here.
Yes, we
and
are.
He's had a couple misses like that where he's had a couple of runs that have been miffed. He's just looked not like the guy we were expecting to get when he signed. And then I'm trying to think of a third one here to give to you guys because there have been some pretty good ones. I honestly can't think of a third one.
It's hard. It's hard to get three.
It's all right. No, like I said, you give 3 or 2, 1, it's all right.
Right.
Sean, you got your studs and duds, brother?
Yeah, I'm gonna start with the duds because I found one of his. So I'm gonna be a contrarian. I'm gonna group 2 players together, but Greg Little and Liam Eichenberg are major duds to me. Look, I know PFF isn't a perfect science. Liam Eichenberg through 4 games is a 33. Greg Little, 34. I think we're giving them more credit than they deserve because Tua is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL at getting the ball out of his hands quick. He avoids sacks. Our offensive line sucked last year. It sucked the year before that. And Tua was still not a heavily sacked quarterback because he's really good at that. But if you look at our running game, these guys are averaging less than 3.5 yards per carry, whereas Raheem Mostert averaged 5.1 or 5.7 yards per carry in San Fran. And Chase Edmonds is a career like 4.3 or 4.5 yards per carry until if you're not even meeting your career bar, what am I praising? Because Tua gets the ball out quick and doesn't get sacked, although he does get pressured. And then we have no running game still. We've had some nice runs. I don't think it's on Mostert. I don't think it's on Edmonds. But yeah, I'm not a fan of Greg Little. I'm ready for Austin Jackson to come back, and I've yet to ever be a fan of Liam Eichenberg, and that continues. But in terms of another dud, I guess I'm just going to. He took Phillips, which was going to be mine. I'm going to give it to Agba for the simple fact that I'm going to take it away from Agba because Agba, he is who he is. This is who he is.
It's hard to get 3. It's hard to get 3.
No, it's just I want to be different. So I'm going to give it to Jerome Baker for constantly being one of the most overrated players on the team who doesn't really cover all that well. I know he made a play last week, but he doesn't tackle. I don't know what he does. But in terms of studs, the first one should be a surprise. Nick Needham. I think he struggled through the first couple of games of the season, and I think he was a critical part of the defense and its success the past 2 weeks, especially against Buffalo. He also did a phenomenal job on Thursday night. So I think we can stop the Nick Needham slander. Happy with what he's done. I'm going to go with my preseason man crush, and that's River Craycraft.
Oh, you stole my fire.
2 touchdowns and two receptions.
Love it.
But I also want to throw Trent Sherfield in here because every time he gets thrown the ball, he's just reliable. And even on Thursday, he looked the coolest. Like that all aqua with the orange wristbands, all orange cleats. He just looked fresh. So I'm just going to give it to him on there. So another, Melvin Ingram. Obviously, he's a stud. He's been by far the biggest defensive sign, the only defensive signing, but he just continues to prove his importance and significance to the defense. And I'm gonna go with Javon Hollins. I know we're not creating turnovers, but he's around the ball every play. He's making hits. He's playing with aggression. You look Thursday night, they got to be tired, this defense, and he's out there hitting people.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's turning into the heart and soul of that defense.
Yep, I love him.
All right, Justin.
All right, let's go. I'm going to start just like Sean did. I'm going to give you the duds first, okay? And let's start here with my first dud, which is going to be Alec Ingold. I'm going to need a little bit more out of my fullback. In fact, this I think the second time I've said this. I need more from him. I need him to be throwing the ball more. I need him to block more. I even need him to be handed the ball a little bit more. My second dud is no surprise to me, but maybe to some of you all, is going to be Raekwon Davis. My second dud is Raekwon Davis because I need, just like Alec Ingold, I love the guy, love him to death, love his arrow up. He's a good player, but I need more out of you. I need you to penetrate more. I need you to be that one gapper that we're looking for to get in there and disrupt. My third dud is going to be the big surprise because I don't think you could ever call this guy a dud in anything he does or who he is or what he exemplifies to the team. But he's hurt and he's playing on one leg, and that's Xavier Howard. That's going to be my third dud. I hate to do that to the guy, but I need more out of that. I don't need people stretching you 70 yards down the field because you wanted to open the gate. I need you to stay tight and stay at home and press. I need you to do what's right. You stole my fire there with the River Craycraft. That's one of my studs. But I'll just go back to the other side, and I'll go ahead and take T Steady. That's going to be one of my studs. Then he's awesome at what he does. He's holding down and anchoring the line for us. My other stud is going to be Tua Tagovailoa because he is our quarterback number one. He was balling out of control before he got hurt. He was going to shred up the Bengals if he was kept in that game and upright. That's my second stud. And here you go, man. I'll give it to you right now. My third stud is Thomas Morstead, the punter, because he just keeps banging them punts back there and setting the special teams up in good field position. Those would be my three studs right there. Gesicki actually was going to be one of my duds, but I didn't want to go there because it opens me up for a bunch of more stuff. Other people will block me too, just like he blocked me. So I mean, at least he made one block in his life. We'll see what happens. Now he's been playing. I'm just kidding. He's been playing a little bit better and blocking.
I think he was the best pass blocker.
He's been playing good
Thursday night. He had like a 79 PFF grade.
He's been playing damn good. I like it. He's making me eat my words. Keep going, Mikey. Catch a couple more touchdowns.
But real quick, I have a fun stat for you.
Yes, sir.
And this is average per game. So this has nothing to do with we've played 4 games versus the rest of the NFL has played 3. We are the second best rushing defense in the NFL right now, averaging only 69 yards per game. And it's not like we've played scrubs. We just played Joe Mixon. We played the Patriots, who are a solid running team. I mean, and that's including Lamar Jackson's 100 whatever yards he had against us.
Right.
So hats off to them. And then Tyreek Hill being a quarter of the way or a halfway to 1,000, a quarter of the way to 2,000 through 4 games. He's on pace for over 2,000 yards.
That's awesome.
Love it. Well, man, we're about to hit the hour, so I want to thank everybody. First off, I want to thank JP and Sean joining us here on Digging on the Trenches. I want to thank everyone who's tuned in. If you're watching on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook or Twitter, go to YouTube, smash that like and subscribe button. If you're watching, you haven't hit that yet, hit it. Don't forget, we got Richmond Reb with Justin next week.
Big Rich.
Next Saturday. And thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you. Until next time, like, subscribe, fins up. Thank you, everybody.